This is Go-MMT Radio.
Go-MMT Radio. Let's go.
Powered by Make My Trip, Go IBBO and Redbus.
Hello and welcome back. सुन रहे हैं आप GO-MMT Radio. मेरा नाम है सोनू. As you all are aware by now that this entire week we are doing a special round of podcast called Dialogue on Diversity. Sreemoyee Sengupta, who is the VP SME DEI, will be joining us in a little while from now. But before she joins us, here's something about Sreemoyee that you probably didn't know. Something that she enjoys doing apart from work is reading music and early morning workouts. She likes true crime web series and her morning coffee fixes in equal amounts. Her penchant for pen has also motivated her to contribute to several articles and research reports with insights on various areas of workplace culture. When she's not working, you can find her in her house with her dog Rocks and making lists that even she didn't know that she needed. I think list making is such an integral and relaxing part of my day-to-day life as well. She'll be joining us in a little while from now. Don't go anywhere. Time for a quick music break. And now it's time for some really talented Go-Trippers to perform for you. We've got Jothika, who is an executive from the Human Resources from Gurgaon, singing for all of us right now.
इतना मजा क्यों आ रहा है तूने हवा में भांग मिलाया दुगना नशा क्यों हो रहा है आँखों से मीठा तूने खिलाया हो तेरी मलमल की कुर्ती गुलाबी हो गई मन चली चाल कैसे नवाबी हो गई तो बलम पिचकारी जो तूने मुझे मारी तो सीधी साधी छोरी शराबी हो गई हाँ जीन्स पहन के जो तूने मारा ठुमका तो लट्टू पड़ोसन की भाभी हो गई बलम पिचकारी जो तूने मुझे मारी तो सीधी सारी छोरी शराबी हो गई हाँ जीन्स पहन के जो तूने मारा ठुमका तो लट्टू पड़ोसन की भाभी हो गई
क्योंकि ये कौन बोला
होली कब है होली अरे ओ सांबा होली कब है होली खेले रघुवीरा साला नौटंकी खड़ी ड्रामा करता है होली कब है होली
8 मार्च को है।
अरे अब आएगा मजा
On Go-MMT Radio.
Hi, this is Kaveri Mishra from Flight Business Unit and GCC Business, and you're listening to Go-MMT Radio. Head, set, go.
Welcome back to yet another episode of Go-MMT Radio. As I promised you before, we are going to have Sreemoyee. We in fact have Sreemoyee with us. She's the Vice President Subject Matter Expert DEI at Rainmaker, and this entire week we are doing something very different, something we've not done before. It's called Dialogue on Diversity. In our previous episode, we spoke about diversity and the need for leaders to get involved in conversations around women at workplace. We also had a brief overview about what an Indian workplace today looks like. Sreemoyee, if you remember the previous episode, we did speak about bias, and I think that's where we're going to start today. You know, this is something that we discussed, and it's also being discussed across organizations we keep hearing the term like non-conscious bias. So if you could explain it to our listeners, what exactly is non-conscious bias?
Sure, Sonu. Thank you for having me back. I'd love to take this conversation forward again. It's one of my favorite topics to discuss. Non-conscious bias, or what might very commonly be called unconscious bias as well, is used to refer to attitudes that we might have towards certain people or the stereotypes that we may associate with them without our conscious knowledge. And while there are various kinds of biases that we know of today, to make it a little more relevant, make it a little more understandable, let's take gender bias as an example.
Right.
Now, gender bias is basically the preference of one gender over another. And this bias occurs when someone non-consciously associates certain stereotypes with different genders.
Right.
Now, a very common example is when hiring decisions are made basis a woman's age or by assuming the stage that she might be in her personal life, which may not be a factor considered when hiring decisions are made about a man.
Right. So now that we know a bit about non-conscious bias, I think by the end of the episode, I think we'll get a brief overview of what we are talking about because we have the questions that follow it up really well. For those of you who are just logging in, let me reintroduce you to Sreemoyee. She's the Vice President, Subject Matter Expert, DEI at Rainmaker. And Sreemoyee, after talking about non-conscious bias, sometimes we are not really aware of the biases. We are not aware of the stereotypes as well. So how can someone become aware of the stereotypes and the biases that they may have?
That's actually a very interesting question, but I think it's also a very important question in the whole dialogue of diversity. At an individual level, Sonu, I think the first step to that is educating ourselves. Everyone holds non-conscious beliefs about many social groups and identities, and these biases are essentially rooted in our mind's tendency to organize social worlds by categorizing, to simplify how our brain processes information to help us make decisions. So it's important to educate ourselves by examining the assumptions we may hold. For example, do you think women are meant for only certain kinds of roles, even at the workplace?
Right.
When it comes to assigning desk jobs in what may be considered the safety of the office, do you tend to prefer women for these jobs? In which case, do they lose out on opportunities or roles where travel is involved? And a result of this, are men mostly made to consider roles that involve travel? So just something for us to think about, questions for us to ask ourselves and educate ourselves on when we're considering the impact of our decisions, right? Therefore, the suggestion would be to slow down and reflect on your beliefs and assumptions. In fact, as a leader, take a few minutes to question yourself. It can make all the difference to you and your team.
Right.
The second thing we can do is to be open to feedback and to be receptive to diverse perspectives. Encourage people to check you when they see you act on biases. Let them ask you the right questions.
Right. And of course, I mean, because the conditioning has been like that. I mean, we've grown up in a society where, we grow up with stereotypes and biases. So I think it has to be a very conscious effort to fight it every single time. Sreemoyee, we spoke about stereotypes and biases. I want to know, why does an organization need to be concerned if I, as an employee, have any kind of bias? Because how does it affect the larger picture?
Right. Again, another very relevant question. The reason why many organizations are discussing this, Sonu, and helping their employees and leaders become aware of this is because non-conscious bias impact our decision making. And if we don't check them and collectively act on them, we may end up perpetuating discrimination based on these biases we may hold. Eventually, they become systemic problems, causing an issue of systemic exclusion, or discrimination. Given everything we've discussed about the need for diversity, organizations are now playing important roles in helping their employees become conscious of their biases and to ensure that their decision-making and company culture is bias-free.
Right. The next question that I have for you, Sreemoyee, is that, of course, we spoke about bias and then the larger picture. But what can I do when I see someone else in the organization exhibiting a bias?
I would say be an advocate. Respectfully and actively call out biases when you witness them. Now that we know that a lot of our biases are not always conscious, allow the individual who has demonstrated a bias to learn from your feedback. But don't let it pass. Each one of us plays a very active role in ensuring that our workplaces are inclusive. And so each one of us has a responsibility to ensure that we support each other to identify our biases and overcome them. Again, let's consider a very relevant scenario. In certain cases, we may end up giving more flexibility to women in various logistical aspects of the job, and we may not extend the same flexibility to men. I'd like to leave the audience with how they would want to be an advocate in that situation.
Right. I mean, I think that level of consciousness is absolutely needed, and I think you need to spend some time with yourself to understand how would you like to react. Sreemoyee, we spoke about the kinds of biases, but then I also want to know how do stereotypes and biases about women affect their career trajectories and opportunities?
It's been seen to affect everything about women at the workplace. Whether they apply for the jobs they want, get the jobs they apply for, the projects they want, the growth they desire. Biases determine so much about whether and how a woman gets to participate in the workplace. It's that important a conversation.
Right. And I think and it's not something that we do only for Women's Day. I think it's a conversation and discussion that should continue happening even amongst ourselves is what I feel. But thank you so much for today once again, Sreemoyee. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. And yes, of course, our conversations will continue tomorrow as well. So don't go anywhere. I'm leaving you with this beautiful, beautiful track. And then we'll be joining by Sreemoyee again tomorrow for the show. So keep it locked. One last thing before we wrap up today's show. Today we are going to tell you about a modern sanskari woman who still relies on her grandmother's recipe as the world moves on to high-end chemical-filled beauty products. अगर आप confused हैं ना हो, क्योंकि मैं बात कर रही हूँ about Skivia from the house of Clovia.
Brand की बात on GO-MMT Radio.
Now, Skivia offers a wide range of skin, body and hair care products that are formulated using super ingredients and potent actives that bring nature's gentle care to you. इनके products जो हैं, they act as superfoods for your skin and hair that solve everyday as well as specific beauty needs. Skivia is committed to providing you with clean beauty as their products are absolutely free from nasty chemicals, parabens and sulfates, bringing to you head-to-toe beauty salons that are easy and reliable and perfect for any generation. So this Women's Day, why don't you give your skin some Skivia love? You can stand a chance to win their products and be a part of the Skivia Love Club. You can join the contest. Skivia Superfoods for Skin and Hair. And we are super excited to announce this contest exclusive for our Gurgaon folks. We are super excited to bring gift hampers worth $13.98 to our beautiful lady trippers at Gurgaon office. Now 50 winners will get hampers containing the Kumkumadi rejuvenating face wash and aloe vera and neem, 24 karat pure gold facial oil serum with saffron and goat milk and lavender essential oil. Now karna aapko kya hai? You have to follow the GO-MMT radio page on Instagram and like our Skivia contest post. Tag 3 Instagram friends. You can tag Skivia and type Make My Trip Coupon Lounge in the comment section of Skivia contest post. Then you can put Skivia contest post on your story and tag GO-MMT Radio and Skivia. And then you are assured to win this hamper. We'll be announcing the winners very, very soon.
Brand की बात on GO-MMT Radio.
And that's it from me for this episode of GO-MMT Radio. Until we meet next time, stay healthy, stay safe and keep smiling.
होली कब है होली कब?
अरुंधति, होली 8 मार्च को है, तो क्या प्लान्स है होली पर इस बार?
Hi, this is Saujanya here, wishing all the Go Trippers a very joyous and colorful Holi. My favorite song for Holi, like it must be for a lot of you, is Rang barse bhige chunar wali, Rang barse.
Rang barse bhige chunar wali, Rang barse. अरे कीने मारी पिचकारी तोरी भीगी अंगिया, रंग रसिया मन बसिया हो।
बुरा ना मानो, होली है, हैप्पी होली।
अच्छा हुआ अरुंधति आपने बता दिया, हम तो भूल ही गए थे। तो क्या प्लान्स है होली पर इस बार?
To listen to your favorite GO-MMT radio from anywhere, follow us on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn and Instagram. Visit the GO-MMT radio page for daily updates and enjoy listening to your favorite radio channel.